Welcome everybody to today's training. I'm super excited to have you here. I'm going to share with you the only 3 things for you to focus on every single week that will get results in your business. Hands down, if you do these 3 things over and over again, rinse and repeat, your business will grow. We have a tendency to overcomplicate things, and I want to stop that for you today. I want to simplify it for you. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Stacey Hartman. I am a client attraction alchemist for the next generation thought leaders and coaches. Those of you that know you have a big vision, you want to make a big impact, you see yourself on stages, you see yourself really impacting the world, making a dent in this world, you are in the right place. And I want to help you grow your business. That is what this group is all about. If you're new to this group, definitely check out the other trainings. There is tons and tons of resources here for you to help you grow your business. No strings attached, no offers, nothing. Just here to truly help those of you become visible to make the difference that you're here to make. I think this is what I'm going to call my ripple effect group, because so many of you just from the trainings alone are doing some amazing things in your businesses, which is super exciting. We're going to go ahead and dive right in. Here's what we're going to be talking about today. And I mentioned this a little bit already, but I'm going to be sharing with you the 3 steps, basically the only 3 action steps for you to take every single week to grow your business. Here's the thing. Many of you are avoiding these 3 steps like the plague. And there's a reason for that. And we're going to talk about what's getting in the way of taking these 3 steps, why we're not taking them, what excuses we might be coming up with, and how to blast through those as well so you can finally get the results that you want to in your business. And many of you might be brand new coaches. So you might be thinking, I'm just new and I'm still just trying to figure things out, still trying to learn. Ding, ding, I'm ready to call all of you out on your BS, because that in and of itself is an excuse, because these 3 steps can be taken no matter where you are at in your journey. You don't need anything to take them. You are all ready and capable to do this today, this week, and every single week afterwards, and it will grow your business. First and foremost, the number 1 skill, and I'm guessing you guys are like me, you love to learn. You could learn all day long. You're here because you love to learn. That said, there are so many skills we can learn. There are so many things we can learn for our business, but there's one skill that trumps it all. And the one skill that trumps it all is the ability to connect with people and share what you do. That's it. The ability to connect with people and share what you do. If you know how to build relationships, if you know how to have friendly conversations, you are mastering the skill that is needed to grow your business. We hear a lot, but there's 2 things, right? It's, of course, we want to be really strong in our coaching skills, and then there's the business side of coaching. If you have an ability to connect with people, share what you do, and you know what? Your coaching skills give you that in and of itself. So the lines are merging with those 2 things already. So that's number 1 skill. So now let's talk about the 3 things that you will be doing with that skill. And I want to preface this by saying, I hear from so many coaches, they're like, I'm not getting any clients and I can't find clients, and how do I grow my business? And all of these questions. And generally speaking, I could ask these 3 questions to each and every one of you and know exactly how your business is progressing. So I'm going to ask these 3 questions. They're going to give you clues to the 3 steps that we can take every single week. And I want you to really think and be honest with yourself and think, let's take last week, for example. Last week or this week, whichever it may be. And I'm going to ask you these 3 questions about the last week in your business. And I want to know, where are you at with these 3 questions? Because it's going to give you a very big clue about how your business is growing or not growing. The first question, how many people actually saw you as a human being, saw you, experienced who you are, experienced your energy, experienced who you are outside of the people that you live with and your close friends that see you on a regular basis? So how many people were you visible in front of that were new or an area where maybe you're not seen on a regular basis? It's the first question I would ask. You can write it down for yourself or just contemplate it a little bit. Then from there, my question would be, how many people did you have a personal, connected, meaningful conversation with in the last week where you shared what you do in your business? How many people did you have a meaningful, connected conversation, one-to-one, personally connect with, where you had the opportunity to share what you do or how you help or how you serve people in your business? That's the second question. And then the third question that I would ask people when they say, I'm not finding clients, I'm not getting clients, I'm not getting enough clients, is how many offers did you make or invitations did you make into your coaching services in the last week? Now, if those three questions, the first one should have felt fairly easy, the second one maybe a little bit tougher, the third one maybe even tougher, that would be completely normal. But those three questions, if those numbers are low or zero, it's no wonder why we're having a hard time growing our business. Because how can we grow our business without being visible and without sharing who we are? And so many of the activities that we engage in, it's like, how many activities are we doing? If you were to really look at the time that you had to invest in your business in the last week, how many of those activities included any one of those three things? If you're anything like me when I was first starting my business and for the first big chunk of my business, it would be very little, like less than 10% of the activities, because it's so much easier to design an ebook or to write posts and never post them, or to make a content plan, or to work on the website, or all of these activities that we take that we feel are moving our business forward. All of those activities that we believe we're doing to move our business forward that actually just interfere with our ability to be visible and seen and to be able to really serve people. So this is just the segue. So I haven't shared the three things to do every single week, but I'm guessing you're probably picking up on what I'm putting down. The very first focus, these are three focuses. If I were to say every Sunday or every Monday, whenever your work week starts, you were creating a plan on what to do. Because this is the other thing I hear over and over again. We wake up and we're like, I don't know what to do today. There's so many different things I could do. If you can fit it into one of these three things, you are moving your business forward in immense ways. So anytime you hear yourself asking yourself that question, like, I'm confused, I don't know what to focus on, where do I start? I'm overwhelmed, I don't know what to do first. Just choose one of these three things and you're golden. So the very first thing is be visible to new people. It's not rocket science, but we're going to dive into why it feels like rocket science, even though it's going to feel like a no-brainer. But I'm going to get really real with you guys here shortly, because while it feels like a no-brainer, why aren't we focusing on it? So that's the big question. When I talk about being visible to new people, connecting with new people, this is where we can get confused, because there are 1,000 different ways for us to do this. And so we're like, which way should I do it? Confusion absolves us from taking responsibility and action in our business. So long as we're confused, we don't have to take action. So long as we're confused, we give ourselves full-blown permission to stay stuck. So this is for those of you that are familiar with energy leadership, and any of you who've attended my webinars on business energetics, this is the first level. Confusion and overwhelm is a symptom of the first level when it comes to business energetics. And it's the level that keeps us stuck. So yes, there are a lot of different opportunities here, but there's one thing I want you to keep in mind. It doesn't really matter which one you choose. If you can check this off your list every single week where you were visible to new people, you are moving your business forward. So the key here is taking action in spite of the confusion, the overwhelm, or whatever is coming in. The other thing I want to share is there is what I call an authority scale that allows the actions that you are taking here to be most effective. I'm going to share with you the authority scale. However, I want to be really clear. If going for a visibility path that's higher on the authority scale is going to slow down your process and mean you're not going to be visible for 4 weeks, go on the lower path of authority. Be visible, be willing to be relentlessly visible every single week to new people in your business, making new connections, being out there, whatever that may be for you. Let me share with you the authority scale, because so many people are like, I don't know where to find people. And this is where I know many of you started connecting in with. I said, ditch the niche, because with the authority scale, you don't need a niche to just be visible in front of new people. Now, on the authority scale, on the high end of authority, that's when the niche is super helpful, but you don't need it to keep you from getting started. So the authority scale, basically, this is the level of authority and the actions that you can take to be visible. On the low end of the scale, this is where we're talking about going to the grocery store. You hear this all the time. People are everywhere. What do you mean you can't find clients? Everywhere you go, there's people. Showing up at the grocery store and warm chatting strangers and getting to know strangers is pretty low on the authority scale. When I talk about the authority scale, how authoritative and credible do you appear to the audience? So at the grocery store, you're not really exerting any authority, any expertise, any credibility. However, there is the opportunity to be visible, to connect, to work that muscle of just being visible, of doing something in your business that's moving it forward. Then on the other end of the authority scale, on the peak of the authority scale, the most powerful way you can be an authoritative expert in your field is through speaking and teaching or training. That's where you can get your message, be visible in your message, and be seen as an authority in your message. This can be speaking offline, like at workshops, creating your own workshops, at meetup groups, associations, whatever it may be. Or of course, online, like this, Facebook Live, webinars, whatever they may be. That's high on the authority scale. Now, a lot of coaches put their focus and their attention on going to the high end of the authority scale right out of the gate. And that's where tech confusion comes in, feeling not enough clarity around the niche or the messaging, and all that stuff keeps them stuck and invisible. So what I'm inviting all of you to do is just choose to be visible to new people every single week. This is a muscle you're going to start building. And frankly, if we can't be visible in non-authoritative places and start growing that muscle, we're going to have a harder time being visible in high authority places. So no matter what, just be visible, connect with new people, be seen and in front of new people. That is the very first thing. Now, in the middle there, the networking piece. On the authority scale, networking falls pretty much smack dab in the middle, because those of you that network or have networked or are networking, you know that when you walk into a networking event, everybody's on an equal playing field. But if you're at the front of the room, either running the networking event or speaking at the networking event, your authority scale went up a little bit. So networking, because it's a focused group, Facebook groups, same sort of thing, because they're focused groups. If you think about the authority scale from connecting with somebody at the grocery store to speaking on a stage in front of a specific audience, networking smack dab in the middle. So those are just a few ways of being visible in your market and to new people. So that's number one. So let me check in here. What's standing out? I want to know who here is committed to releasing perfectionism and having it all figured out and just agreeing to commit to every single week be in front of new people, like 1 time a week, 2 times a week. Clearly, the more you're in front of new people, the more results you're going to get, the more you're able to take the next step. So who's willing to put a stake in the ground to say, I'm willing to be visible in front of new people, imperfectly, whatever it may be, create opportunities where I can share my message and just share who I am as a person and start meeting people. Again, this feels really simple, but as you're thinking on Sunday, like, what am I going to do this week to grow my business? Start thinking, where are you going to be visible? And if you find yourself like, let me research and let me plan and let me create my map for the full year of where I'm going to be visible, that is an excuse that's keeping you from being visible. We're going to talk more about that in just a minute. So let's talk about now step 2. After you are visible to groups of people, to many people, go out of your way to connect personally, one-on-one. Again, not rocket science, right? But it's very intentional. It's intentional in the fact that we're setting intention to create meaningful, connected conversations every single week. And it's engaging in those private conversations where you're going out of your way to truly connect human to human, person to person. The biggest thing, and I want to share every time I'm sharing steps or strategies or do's, the biggest piece of all of this is to do it with no strings attached. So I just want to share an example. I don't know if she's on the call or not, but we just had our mastermind call right before this training. And one of the women in the mastermind said, I just get so confused. I'm trying to figure out how to create this post so that people want to join my group. And right away, it's, so what is the objective of the post? It's to help people find my group. But when we connect with the intention of our own interests, of our own agenda, of maybe this person will become a client, or maybe this person will know somebody that can make referrals to me, or as soon as it's our agenda, like we are essentially like sabotaging our efforts. This is the trickiest part, because in one sense, I'm saying this is what will grow your business and the goal and the objective is to grow your business. Now I'm telling you, forget about growing your business. Just do these 3 things. Trust and know that these 3 things, when you're doing them on a regular basis from a completely detached place and coming from an intention of being a service, of truly caring and wanting to connect with another human being, that the business will grow effortlessly and organically. The minute we become needy or have an agenda, we open up the door, 1, for our ego to come in, and that creates more fear. And 2, it just puts so much pressure on ourselves. It's, I got to show up and I got to look professional and I got to make sure I'm saying the right thing. As opposed to when you approach these meaningful conversations as if you're just connecting with an old friend, they feel that. They feel the genuinity of it. So one of the secrets, and I don't know, maybe you can feel this from me. One of the secrets that I use is every single person I talk to, every single person that reaches out to me when I'm doing these trainings, I'm genuinely in a place where I'm with a bunch of my best friends. I want to approach every conversation and every connection and everything that I do in the purest authentic part of myself, which means that I'm the same with you doing this training as I am sitting at the bar with my girlfriends and having a drink. And that's what I'm inviting you to do when you're connecting personally with people, is to just show up as you would anywhere else. The minute that you put on the role of now I'm a coach and now I'm an entrepreneur and now I'm this, now I'm that, you're sabotaging your business in a lot of ways. It just doesn't work. So yes, it is an inward focus. It's setting just the most simplistic intentions. I want to connect with people. I'm curious about people's stories. That's the intention that you can approach these individual private conversations with. Being curious, detached, connected. Now, I shared with you in the first step, the authority scale, right? There's a way to streamline so you can get your message in front of more people. When it comes to engaging in a conversation and making the invitation for a powerful conversation, there's a couple different ways you can do it. Now, the attached way of doing it that some people might teach out there is reach out to every single person at the networking event and set up a coffee date. 1, it's going to exhaust you. 2, that's just throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping something lands, that there's a power in numbers or something, and just takes a lot of time. So that's when we think about who to connect with, because we do have so many people we can connect with, how do you discern which connections to make when? 1 is just connect with everybody and see what sticks or see which relationships really take off. That's one way. The middle ground would be to use some rationalization or logic, like this person does this and we seem to have this in common and I was interested in this when they said that, and then reach out to those people. Now, the most powerful way, the quickest shortcut to determine who to connect with and who to really start building some relationships with is using your intuition. So you'll have flash ideas or flash insights, or you'll feel like a resonancy or an energetic connection to somebody that you just met in your visibility piece. If that's the case, those are kind of your nudges to reach out and explore what's there. Because if you have those nudges, it's either some sort of connection to your business, some sort of connection to a need that they have, some sort of connection that they can make around something else. That's the power of the synchronistic, serendipitous things that can happen in your business when you get those intuitive flashes, and as quick as they come in, you act on them. The post, she had 500, I think it was 1,000 because she was replying to every single person, but 500 comments on this post that went viral. But she's not going to reach out to 500 people and personally connect with them. That's just, whoa. So she can feel and intuitively connect in with who she wants to really connect with. So that's the engaging in a conversation, personally connect one-on-one. Okay, so again, one of the first questions I said, there's 2 questions I ask. How many new people did you meet or were you in front of? And how many people did you reach out to build and grow a personal relationship with? That's the second question. This is the second thing that you every single week want to do. My coach refers to this as spotlighting. He calls it spotlighting, where when you feel resonance or connection with somebody, you simply tap them on the shoulder. So for example, if somebody's really engaging with your content, or if let's say you write a blog and they're like, gosh, great post. It's just tapping on the shoulder and saying, hey, thanks for the feedback. What about it resonated with you right now? Use some of your coaching skills, get curious, uncover what's happening in their world and in their life right now that led them to really enjoy that piece of content that you shared. And it's making that personal connection. Okay. Number 3. So if you're visible and personally connecting with people, you are moving your business forward. The third thing is making offers. This is probably the area that's like the sales piece of your business. This is probably the piece that most people feel really uncomfortable with. And there's some wealth consciousness work. And those of you that haven't seen it, there's a really fantastic wealth consciousness video as well. If you just put wealth consciousness in the search box, you'll find it. There's a wealth consciousness piece of the sales piece, but making offers. So how many times, and again, speaking from experience, do you get on a call and it's like you offer, hey, would you like some help with that? Would you be interested in a coaching conversation about that? And they say yes. And then you hop on the conversation and you can see that you can help them, that you have that with continuous coaching, like they could get really phenomenal, sustainable results. Yet you hem and haw and hedge and haw about how to make that offer or how to make that invitation for the full solution. Now, part of this might feel like it's like a bait and switch. I'm inviting them into a powerful coaching conversation, and then all of a sudden I sell them something at the end. The key piece here is that in that conversation, and again, there's another training if you haven't seen it on sales, on how to frame up this conversation so that it doesn't feel like so inauthentic. How do you make that transition from a powerful coaching conversation into an offer? So I'll just go over it really quick, but nobody can say yes to our services unless we share with them what they are. Part of the challenge that we have with this is we make choices for people. So if we believe, because we hear them say something like, oh, I'm really tight on money right now, or, oh, I just don't have the time, or whatever it may be. And we take that and we create story around it and say, oh, it's probably not a good time for them. They probably can't afford it right now. We are interfering with their ability to make their own conscious choices. It is not our job to ever make a choice for anybody. It is our job that when we know we have a solution that will help them, to offer the solution, stay detached, and allow them to make the choice that's best for them. So in sales conversations, we have one role, and it's to help the person who we're talking to make a conscious choice about if it is a yes for them or a no for them, and ensuring that the choice, whatever they're making, is truly coming from a place that's aligned with their truth and their values and their purpose, and not aligned with their fear. We can do that from a very detached place by boldly leaning into whatever fears are coming up for them and leaning into any objections that come up. So we have to make offers. We're not able to secure clients unless we're making the offer of our full coaching services and our full packages. Just to recap, this is essentially a funnel, if you want to call it that. It's becoming an initial contact, right? This is the initial contact. You're visible to new people. It's figuring out who you're connecting in with the most of the new people that you were just visible with, tapping them on the shoulder, making a personal connection, asking for a private conversation to learn more about them, what's happening in the world, what's happening in their life. And then from that conversation, either on the actual call, so sometimes this takes 2 calls. Let me just share with you another little tidbit here. As you get really well versed in this process, or if you're already well versed in this process, it's a 3-step process. For those of you that feel a little uncomfortable going from that conversation into an offer, you can turn it into a 4-step process. So be visible, tap on the shoulder, build relationships, connect. If you know that you have a full solution to the challenge that they're experiencing, or that you can really help them achieve their goals or where they want to go, make the offer. Now, if in that private conversation, again, this can start with Messenger. It can start with a little tap on the shoulder. Hey, love connecting with, as long as it's authentic, like, and not manipulative. But if you're truly seeing something in somebody and you want to connect with them, after you tap them on the shoulder, inviting them into a deeper conversation. And then in that conversation, you can have your agenda, your objective be solely like, my only purpose here is to be of service, to connect, to help in any way I can, to help you get some breakthrough and some ahas on this call. And that can be your pure only objective. You can just release the pressure valve of, am I going to invite them into coaching? Am I not going to? Just truly serve, right? On that first call. This is the 4-step process. And then from there, at the end of the call, say, listen, I actually think I have something that could help you for the long haul with this. Would you be interested in exploring that? Let's set up a different call to explore that. So it's as you're connecting personally with people and you're picking up, they're having XYZ challenge, or they want to go to this, their goal is this, and they're feeling stuck, whatever you're picking up as you're connecting and coaching, you can then say, hey, I think I have something that would really help you for the long haul. Would you be interested in exploring it? get permission. Let's set up another call to explore that further. Then that fourth call is where you're setting the agenda. The objective of the first call is just to be a service. The objective of the fourth call is to explore. Hey, you know what? Some things came up. I know I can help you with it. So on this call, let's explore whether or not it makes sense for us to partner on a deeper level with coaching or whatever your services are. So that fourth call then is actually the sales call where you're making your offer, but it's not a bait and switch, because you can tell them right up front that the purpose of this call is for us to explore whether or not I'm a fit for you and where you want to go, and you're a fit for me and how I know I can help people. And that's it. There you go. That's the 3 actions every single week. Again, the 3 questions that I ask people when they're like, I've tried everything and I'm not getting clients, is how many offers have you made? How many people have you engaged in meaningful, one-on-one, truly connected conversations? How many people did you get your message in front of last week? And usually when they say, I've tried everything, they've tried all the wrong things. So it feels like they've tried everything, yet they haven't used the things that actually secure clients, that actually generate revenue in their business. So let me ask you, with what I just shared, and with maybe answering the questions in your own business and thinking about, let's just say, thinking about you're starting this next week, you're committed to maybe being visible, whether it's a networking event or securing a speaking gig, or let's just say you're committed to being visible every single week. You're committed to reaching out to and developing relationships with 3 people every single week. That results in 1 sales call every single week, whatever that is, right? Whatever those numbers might be for you. My question for you is, I'm going to start with this one. On a scale of 1 to 10, how scary do those actions feel when you really put yourself in it and you think about making that commitment to do those 3 things? 1, not scary at all. I want to hop off this video right this second and go do all 3 of them. 10, I'm terrified. I'm confused. I don't even know the first step I would take. I can't see myself putting myself out there that way. Scale to 1 to 10. How scary does that feel to take those 3 steps? Knowing that's where you're at, as you envision, let's say starting tomorrow, taking at least the very first 2 steps and just boom, going for it. What are the first excuses or reasons why? And just give yourself permission. This is an awareness exercise. We can't change what we don't acknowledge, right? What is the very first thing when you think about attending that networking event, or when you think about reaching out to somebody and connecting in? What is the very first thing that comes in your mind that would stop you from doing it? Not in the right mood. Yes, this one often. Even this training for this week, you guys, I'm good with networking, except maybe what to wear. Yeah, I'm not sure what to wear or how to look professional. Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Fear that they won't like me on a personal level, not even nearly professional. What if I share myself and they don't like me? Am I credible enough? Will I come across pushy? Yes. So I was just going to share with all of you, this is probably that I suck. Yeah. So the gremlin, right? It is BS. For me this week, I've committed to doing a training or doing something for you guys every single week. So one of the things that can sneak in is, it's for me, so frequently the excuse is, you know what, it's not gonna be that big of a deal. I can just do it next week. I got too many things going on this week. Or, you know what, this came up and I don't have time in my calendar. Or, so again, the excuses are normal. They come up for all of us frequently. I had a pretty significant situation happen in my family this past week where my mom was seriously injured with some brain trauma stuff. And that would have been the perfect excuse to just take the whole week off. Like, she needs me. But here's the thing. Everything is figure outable. And so whatever excuses are coming up, or whatever thing is saying, wait till next week, or just wait till we get through this, or let's just do this first, or I'll be ready when, or whatever that stuff is, everything is figure outable. So it's like, whatever it is, no matter how legitimate it seems, really legitimate stuff, right? It's all excuses. And here's why those excuses are there, is that you have a thermostat, a comfortability thermostat. And let's just say you like your thermostat to be at 72 degrees. And every single time we start thinking about stretching out of our comfort zone, our thermostat starts to rise, 74, 76. And we are going to pull out all the stops to do everything in our power. Our ego's job is to bring that thermostat back down to 72. Oh, it's getting too hot. We got to turn it down. Just turn it down, and it will pull everything that it can. And even if we define one of the excuses, the next one will come in, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So know that your thermostat, that the fear is you just upper limiting. The fear is simply, the excuses are simply your ego's way of pulling you back down to a comfortable temperature. And we also know that nothing happens in that comfort zone. No learning, nothing that hasn't already happened in our life. So nothing new can happen in our comfort zone. We just keep recreating the current situation when we're in our comfort zone. So if we want the situation to be different than the current situation, the only way is through that comfort zone. So whatever the excuses are, that's the ego. That's the job of the ego. And so this is the number one thing. Doesn't matter how terrifying the excuse feels or how lame the excuse feels. Again, part of my excuse, and part of the excuses can be rationalizations, right? Like the commitment that I've made to myself to be present in this group every single week. I'm thinking, nobody's going to care if I'm here or not. They're not even going to know that a week's passed and I'm not here. So I can rationalize it as in that way. But underneath that rationalization, where I think it's equally to be of service to not be here, underneath it is my ego, is fear. Whatever the excuse, doesn't matter what it is, it's covering up ego and fear. Done is better than perfect. And done is better than perfect because how do we really know what perfect is until we've already tried it one way? Everything in business is an experiment. Everything in business is an experiment. How do we really know? Action's what brings clarity. How do we really know how it's going to work until we do it? We can hypothesize, we can think we know how it's going to go, but how do we really know until we do it? The only thing that brings clarity is action. And everything is an experiment. What I mean by that, and next week I'm going to be doing a training on creating a high-end group coaching program. And every single offer that you create in your business, whether it's group or one-on-one, it's all an experiment. You don't know how the client's going to respond or react or handle, or what they're going to like, what they're not going to like, what they're going to want more of, what they're going to want less of. When you think, should I do 3 sessions or 4 sessions a month? How are you going to know until you just do it? But here's what's great, is no matter what you do, everything is figure outable and everything is adjustable. And the only thing that would stop us from being able to experiment and adjust on the fly is back to our thermostat. Feeling, oh, that's uncomfortable. What are they going to think? They're going to think I don't have my shit together. But that's actually the biggest myth of all, is that nobody is thinking about us. They're thinking about what you're going to think about them. Yes, so releasing perfectionism, being willing to take completely imperfect action, not having it all together. Mistakes are flawsome. One, they make us more human, which makes it easier for people to connect with us, makes it easier for people to know and trust us in a really authentic way. 2, it helps other people see the power of just being who we are in all of our glory and in all of our mess all at the same time. Take action in spite of the fear. What gets results in your business is spending 4 times the amount taking action on the thing that you're learning. So if it takes you 10 minutes to learn it, if it takes you 10 minutes to learn something, to do some research on something, whatever it may be, take 40 minutes actually taking the action on it. That's one of the biggest things, is the speed of implementation. Learn it, get one inspired idea, take action on it. Get one thought, take action on it. It's not like a to-do list. The God universe gives you an inspired thought and you're like, okay, I'm going to shelve that for now and see what other ideas I can come up with. I can tell you, I have written so many lists, 52 weeks of content that I can do. And here's the thing, is that's when we go into force in our business, is if I create a list of 52 pieces of content or 52 emails to write so that my list gets an email every single week, it becomes a doing thing instead of a being thing. Because how do I know what I'm going to feel inspired to share 52 weeks from now? I only know what I'm inspired to do and share in the next minute. And so the same is true for you. What are you inspired? What are you called to do and share in the next day? Then do that. And that action and following the inspiration and following where you feel the excitement and the urge, it reveals the next step. It leaves a breadcrumb trail. That's seriously the most impactful way for you to grow your business. Follow the breadcrumbs. Because here's the thing, is as much as we love to plan, the biggest role that we have as entrepreneurs and running coaching businesses is pivoting. We're always pivoting. And so we could have everything planned out perfectly for the entire year. And so many clients can be, I just want to plan. I want to plan. And it's, let me simplify your plan for you. Do these 3 things and get creative about how you do these 3 things every single week. So it's going to be impossible to create a plan. It's not impossible, but it's nearly impossible to have a well planned out business for the entire year and be 100% authentic and being as opposed to doing. Okay, so I'm on a roll, apparently. Okay, so speed of implementation. 4 times the amount of time taking action that you do planning. Focus on the step right in front of you. You don't need to know. Here's the thing. Oh my gosh. Oh, this just happened in our mastermind too. I don't know if she's on the call or not, but you guys remember I went on another rant in our mastermind last week or the week before. One of our Soul Tribe members was like, I'm thinking about doing this program and I'm thinking about creating this package and I'm thinking about doing this. And it's none of it matters. Like, how much time are you investing in figuring out your packaging and your pricing and your website? And like, none of it matters, because the first step to all of that is getting the traffic and the eyes on what you're creating. So it's, oh, should I do a group program or a one-on-one program? And it's like, creating your packaging and your pricing is really irrelevant until you have somebody, you already have a system in place where you're having conversations that you can invite them into the package. So it's focus on the beginning. What is the first step? And do that. You don't need to figure out payment processing. You don't need to figure out how to take PayPal. You don't need to figure out how to create your contract. You don't need to figure out how to price your services. None of that has to be figured out until you're visible in some way, shape, or form. And I know this probably freaks some of you out who are really big planners, but ultimately it's, again, like my motto, everything's figure outable. So that means that when you have a conversation, so my clients, they'll be like, oh, I want to make sure I know how to do sales. And it's, do you know how to invite people into that conversation? So it's like backing it up. And it's knowing, and this is another advantage of working with a coach, is you feel more confident flying off the handle. So knowing, wow, you know what? I know that the minute that the coaches that I work with, I know that the minute somebody, for new coaches, the minute somebody says, yes, I want to have that coaching conversation, or yes, I want to explore whether or not coaching is a fit for me. Great. Now we can talk about how to have that sales conversation. Well, it's fresh on your mind, and you can go pour all your focus and attention on that one step that's right in front of you. And then all of a sudden they are on the call and they're like, yeah, sign me up. Oh, now what do I do? Great. Now's the time for us to set up your payment processor. Piece of cake. But to get it all set up ahead of time, we redo things in our business over and over again. Okay. Love it. I'm scared because I have invited to a small group coaching of 5, never done it. That's why I take action and trust I'll figure it out. Love that. Exactly. Everything's an experiment in business. We never know until we're in the middle of it. And what's really awesome for group programs is the very first group, and I'm going to be training more on this next week on creating group programs, but the very first group program I launched, the first time it was like no structure. And I just kept changing it in the middle of it all. The first one was like 0 structure, like just super loosey-goosey. Come on, ask questions. The next phase of it, literally a month later, I'm like, you know what? This isn't quite working for the group as powerfully as I'd like it to. Let's move into structure. Then people were submitting full-blown focus seat prep forms. They had to submit them in order to get a slot to be able to be coached. It was super structured. It was like, you know what? This doesn't feel quite like the highest level of service I can bring either. So that it's like everything was an experiment and tweaking and asking for feedback from the group. And they loved it because they felt like they were a powerful part of the process of really, one, as the coach, like, we care. How is this serving you? How can we make it better for you? What would you like to see happen here? And then they can actually contribute to creating the program with you in the way that's going to serve them the best. Again, which story do we want to tell ourselves? That I don't have my shit together and they're going to think that I'm a fraud, or that I'm involving them in the process so that they're served at the highest capacity? So I love that. Yes, you will figure it out. You're going to have a phenomenal group program. Okay, so let me check in with you all here. We talked about the ego. We talked about the excuses. We talked about the action, and action with the intention of being visible, action in those 3 areas that we talked about, because we can take lots of action that doesn't really get us anywhere. I want to share one more thing, and then I want to open it up for some questions. And it's back to this action piece too. So there's 3 steps. So we talked about the 3 steps to take every single week. Now there's 3 steps. 3 steps as far as moving your business forward. Anything that hasn't happened in your business or in your life that you want to boils down to the fact that you haven't decided that you wanted it bad enough. This hit me like a ton of bricks when I was working with my coach and mastermind a few months ago, probably 6 months ago. It's like, it was so clear. What haven't I decided? For me, it was even around health and wellness. If I'm not at the optimal health that I want to be at, it's simply because I haven't made the decision to do. So it all boils down to a decision. So the first thing is decide. Whatever it is that you're going for the rest of this year, just make the decision. Hands down, make the decision. If it hasn't happened, it's because you haven't decided. It's that simple. If it's not happening as fast as you want it to, it's because you haven't decided. Excuses are trumping that decision. That's why it's not happening. That's the first step. The second step is expect. So expect. Once you make the decision, it's as good as done. It already is. It's the expectation and the knowing that it already is. And the third thing is the action piece, because again, action brings clarity. So it's decide, expect that of course it's going to go that way, that it wouldn't go any other way, and then start taking the action, the inspired action, the ideas that are coming up. And that's the process to the unfolding of growing your business exponentially. So I want to open it up. Takeaways, questions about becoming visible, questions about making that invitation into the conversation, questions about sales and making offers. Going for it on my discovery call, I'll know when I have the conversation on what service to offer. Yes, totally. Yes, you will. You will know. So it's bringing up actually something really awesome. The other thing, when I say ditch the niche, this is so freeing. If you've been just reeling about your niche and your message, I'm telling you, ditch the niche for now. Ditch the niche for now. Here's what's going to happen. The minute you ditch it, the clarity comes in because you've officially released. It's like holding the bar of soap, right? As tight as you can, it keeps slipping out of your hands. Like you've just let the bar of soap fall, and then the idea comes, usually in the shower. The second thing is that it's no longer crippling you from taking action. And this was coming up too. Don't underestimate the action that you're taking in all areas of your life, the impact that it has on your business. So what I mean by that is I was talking about how she's choosing to be visible on Facebook. There's not a direct line connection that the connections and the clients are coming from Facebook, yet in her choice to be visible on Facebook, people are coming through the back door. So this is the energetic connection. When you put the stake in the ground, when you choose to be visible, when you just choose to show up and be visible and walk through the fear, the manifestations come, not always in the direct path of where you're being visible. So for me, so much has happened. I know every single weekend that I train with IPEC, when I come back that next week, the ideas and the influx of stuff coming into my business is exponential, because that was 30 full hours that I just showed up authentically and served and delivered powerful content and watched people transform before my eyes. It like affects everything. So whatever it is, just be there. How do you blend your day job with growing coaching in an authentic way? Great questions. Again, especially when you're still in a job and you're working on making that transition to full-time coaching, then it's even more laser focused and releasing all of the excess. What is absolutely essential to secure clients? It's the 3 things that we talked about today. Releasing all the rest. If you've got time to network once a month, then make that your non-negotiable. Once a month, you are networking and reaching out to a certain number of people every single month from the people that you're meeting at the networking event. If you can make it once a week, great, make it once a week. But ultimately, it's like laser focused. All of the excess has to go. Especially when you're working a full-time job, sometimes you can feel more enticed with online marketing, thinking like, oh, if I could just set it and go, then the leads could come in and all this automation could create everything for my business while I'm at work. It just doesn't work that way. In fact, a lot of the automation that I stepped into and created, it actually takes more time. 1, to create the online automated funnels, 2, to manage them. And I'm not saying that this is what you were thinking. I just was popping in my head that sometimes people think, oh, I want to create an automated system so that I can transition more easily. And it's a myth. It's like a total myth. And whatever you hear out there, like you can set it and forget it. It's just not true. It's just a marketing scheme. That's just not true. Okay. So yeah. So focus on those 3 things. Essentialism, doing what's essential and releasing the rest while you're working a full-time job. How do you know where to be visible? So how do you know where to be visible? Because you are visible all over the place. And so what's the deeper thing? So again, what's the intention behind your visibility? So this is like some internal block stuff for sure coming up, because you're not confused about where to be visible. You're in multiple Facebook groups. You're introducing yourself. You're taking advantage of being visible here with coaching and being coached live. Like, you are visible. So what's the disconnect for you standing in more authority and making invitations to have more meaningful conversations? And where's the disconnect to taking the next step? Because you are visible, and maybe the intention with your visibility is a little misaligned or coming from a place. So again, everything starts with our intention, right? So if my intention of being visible is to learn, then I'm going to show up one way. If my intention of being visible is to showcase some expertise or to serve, then I'm going to show up another way. So start thinking about, you are already super visible. So start thinking about how to tweak the intentions so the visibility leads to that next step where you're creating meaningful conversations and opportunities. And actually, that's been happening for you too. I remember you sharing that. And then where's the stopgap? Is it making the offer? Is it turning the chit chat into a more structured coaching conversation? Wherever the disconnect is, that's where the link's broken. And once you repair that link and shift some intentions around it, the pieces come together. I hope that helps. Jumping in before you figured it out. Yes, just jump in. How can we figure it out without jumping in? Seriously, we seriously think our ego is so strong. It thinks it's a crystal ball. It thinks it knows things that are impossible to know without just doing it and figuring it out as we go. Yeah. Does visible mean video when referring to Facebook? No, not always. It can be in groups. It can be on your personal profile. It can be on your page. It can be with Facebook ads. It can be with video. It can be with posts. It can be with images. It can be with quotes. On Facebook, anything goes. So the key piece is with video, you can see like how many people saw your video. So for example, when you're doing video, if you're doing blog posts, whatever, like wherever you're visible, if people are interacting with you, interacting with your content, that's a clue that those are the people that you can start developing those more meaningful relationships with. Leading from a place of sharing my gifts versus hustling so I can make a living. Oh, I'm so glad you're bringing this up. That's the other biggest myth out there right now. Sorry, Gary V, but truly like the hustling. I was just working with another client on this. She's a hustler. And some of you might look at me like, gosh, look at you hustling. It looks like I'm hustling. Like I'm on here frequently. I'm all over the place. But here's the thing is it's not hustling when you freaking love doing it. There's no hustle in business when you're doing the things that you love. And it happens to be that the things that you love, which whatever those unique superpowers, gifts are that you have, you don't have to hustle at all. There's no hustling. When you find your stride and you get to just show up, be authentic, confidently show up. Does it mean you're not working? No, but it just doesn't feel like work. Like I told you, okay, I said I'd be on here for 5 more minutes. It's been 10 minutes because I like seriously could just do this all day. But it could look like hustling because it's like, oh, you are online doing this however many hours a day, but it doesn't feel like hustling. So as you lead from a place of sharing your gifts, you can trust and know that it's in the leading from that place of sharing your gifts that you effortlessly start creating clients. That again, you are sharing your gifts, you are taking action, you are regularly showing up, you are breaking through your blocks, you are doing all of those things. But it's how you're sharing those gifts that are the magnet for the ideal clients that you were meant to serve. The hustling draws in another type of client. Anything that's done with what is it? A veil of something, like a veil of hustling or a veil of doing or a veil of I'm not doing enough unless I'm doing XYZ is going to draw in clients that aren't always going to be the best fit. Yeah, I know Gary V. I love him too. Actually, he's the real deal when it comes to telling people that entrepreneurship's not for everybody. And frankly, I don't think he hustles either because he loves everything he's doing. You can just see the passion just coming from him. But the idea, it's the belief that you have to work super hard to be successful. Do you have to work? Yes. Does it have to feel hard? Hell no. No. So there's these nuances. And again, because so many of you understand energy, like there's the energetic piece. And that's why even when I was sharing with you guys these 3 steps, how do you always infuse everything with energy? Because each and every one of you, you could take these 3 steps and you could go, like you can take these 3 steps and go balls to the wall and go full blown into force and hammer it out and do and go and hustle with these 3 steps. Or you could take these 3 steps and infuse it with your own authenticity, your own intuition, your own guidance, following your own path, feeling guided, supported, and loved, trusting. And it's the same 3 steps, it's the same 3 actions, but how we're taking them are 2 totally different things. Unsure of my own point of view, didn't know my own mind enough to trust what I wanted to say. So I had to allow time for my own growth. Yeah, of course. Yeah, this is where finding your own point of view, it definitely your own growth. It's always this blend. It's never an either or. It's always a both and it's the both and all the way through. So there's always an unfolding or an unveiling of more aspects of ourselves that lead us deeper into more authenticity. That said, so much of the growth, the personal growth happens through the action of not having our point of view yet. So for example, when I first launched my business and I didn't have my unique marketing message, it was very similar to the other marketing messages out there. I didn't want it to be, but I hadn't found my own unique twist yet to play on it. And so I wouldn't have found my own unique twist without first trying on other messages that weren't in full alignment or weren't fully authentic yet. So it's not that the intent to just try on point of views and take action from that point of view is what's going to reveal your point of view much more quickly. The action reveals the truth much more quickly than trying to just think of what it is from our headspace. So yeah, good stuff. Okay. Okay. Do you have a script for the offer? You know what? When I was first doing sales, I always scripted. So let me share this. I can't remember if I shared this in the sales video or not. The biggest thing with the offer is sharing the benefits, right? So what I would do is I would list out basically, and I tell most of my clients who are struggling with the offer and the power of the offer that they have is I ask them to make a list of 100 benefits of their services. And so I would list out all the benefits and I would just have that sheet. Imagine it's like a sheet with the benefits just listed out. And as I'm in a sales conversation with people, I would highlight or circle the benefits that I knew that they were speaking to. So then when I made my offer, the offer that was focused on the benefits, I didn't list out all the benefits, like this 30 benefit bullet points, because that would be way too overwhelming. I was able to then make my offer from the position of like, I actually have a coaching program that would support you in A benefit, B benefit, C benefit, D benefit, which matched exactly what they were looking for that already I knew I could help them with. So make a list of benefits that can come out of the work with you. And then during that conversation, start highlighting the things that you're identifying as either things that they need that they don't know they need, or things that they're already identifying that they really find helpful and useful and beneficial for them. Then when you're making your offer and you're just sharing the benefits, you're sharing, here's the benefits of the work that we'd be doing together. What would you see as the benefits of getting support in this? And then they sell themselves. So that's my magic question. That's in the sales training 1, 2. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, yeah, I think we're good. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks everybody for joining in. Keep your eyes open. I have a super exciting training coming next week, and it's not just going to be me on the camera. We are doing a live training on how to create a high-end group coaching program. The last 2 group coaching programs that I've created have generated multiple 6 figures just with one offering for both of the programs. And you do not want to miss this training. It's going to be so awesome. And here's going to be the best part of it is we are having a panel. You're getting a backdoor look into one of the masterminds that I currently have running with seriously the most amazing people I have ever met. And we're going to have a little panel and you're going to get a behind the scenes look at this mastermind, and also whatever myths or fears you might have around whether or not you're ready to start a group coaching program. We're going to defy those so you can see the powerful benefits of making sure that is one of your offerings. So I'm super excited to share that training with you. Okay, that is it for today. You are all so very welcome. Mwah, mwah. And we'll see you next week. Bye.